yesterday for some of the people in the Dark Waters family. They like, D-Dub, are you going to cover the Olympic closing ceremony? And I was like, nah, I really ain't really about looking at all that because I boycotted it. You know what I'm saying? I saw what they forced down my throat via like the news feed that pops up on your cell phone. How Steph Curry won the men's basketball game to get the gold medal, but they gave the MVP to LeBron James. And I was like, that make up all the sense in the world that they would give it to LeBron. America hating LeBron would get the gold because it's all about inversion. But nonetheless, I'm sitting in the office chilling, knocking out videos. It's time for me to come out and do the 12 noon, bada boom, bada bing. And I see it pop up. This dude floating in the sky playing a piano. And then I see this golden man made of light dancing on the stage. And I said, Lord, what the hell is all this I'm looking at? Satan. I said, what? Satan. Clear as day, Satan. And so they opened the Olympic ceremony mocking Jesus, and they closed it elevating Satan. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, I said, well, why in the hell people don't see this? Why they don't see it? What's wrong with these people? You know what I'm saying? Hit the like button if you're here so I can know you're here, because the YouTube act funny. They don't let people chat. So in order to know you're really here, I need you to hit the button. And I'm saying, man, this is wild. So when you see the man with all black playing the piano vertically in the sky, honoring the prince of the power of the air and his ability to play music in the air, you realize they're highlighting Satan. Then when you see the man adorned like a bright star with light shining off of him, you realize they're honoring Satan. And I'm sitting there saying, why people don't understand this? You know what I'm saying? Why people don't understand this? Now, I'll be honest with you. I ain't watching it. It's a little hot. Hold on. I ain't really about watching it because, quite frankly, I don't care about their little stupid behind Olympics. But it's the green people. And then I come to understand this. I remember watching a video where Tucker Carlson was saying there's people who have wisdom and discernment and people who don't. And he was like, it seems like all the people who are Christians end up being the ones that show wisdom and have wisdom. And then when you go back and read the Bible, you understand that wisdom is a byproduct of the Holy Spirit. Then you understand, yeah. Wisdom and discernment is a byproduct of having that spirit residing in you. And I'm sitting there saying, Lord, this is crazy. It truly is crazy that people can sit there and watch that and don't see nothing weird or strange about it. If this ain't about me and you, honestly, because those who have wisdom and discernment, they sit there and say, oh yeah, they mock Jesus, we turn that off, and they boycotted it. But then the rest of the people just sit there and be put under that spell. And they got to know that it don't make no sense and it's weird and it's strange. But they just sit there and allow themselves to be put under that spell. And so, yeah, the Olympics just showed you what the deal is. There's a bunch of devil worshipers, Satan worshipers, Luciferians. And they're not hiding it at all. Somebody says a lot of people don't know or understand symbolism. Again, you just proved the point to what I'm saying. Mind you, there's people explaining the symbolism all over the place. So having an understanding of it is not the problem. You know what I'm saying? Point blank, period. They can come to the understanding of it. They can understand it all the way. It's there for them to see. That's the crazy thing about right now. Nothing's hidden. Everything is laid out the bare for everybody to see. Nothing hidden from you. And you got to make a choice. And people being presented with options. It's kind of like how, for the average person, you're allowed to be tempted. So you can be sitting there chilling, having a good day at work, and here comes this voice inside your head, giving you an imagination about your kid getting hurt or your wife having problems. All those are temptations, bringing you and trying to drive your day in a direction that it shouldn't go and drive you in a direction you shouldn't go. It's just that now those temptations are being shown publicly. It's all in your face. You know what I'm saying? Somebody said that like Obi-Wan Kenobi or one of the, what's the little dude on Star Wars, the little green man on Star Wars? In your face, it is. Yeah, it is in your face. Dead smack in your face. You know what I'm saying? And so you got to make a decision. How you going to rock with it? And how you going to roll with it? I just finished my video talking about them with Joe Biden. Joe Biden coming out basically saying he was pressured to step down. Nancy Pelosi coming out saying that the letter of resignation didn't seem like it was Joe Biden's letter. And what that means, when you look at it from 100,000-foot view, and I submit to you guys that it means that there's warfare inside of that party, and they're worried about somebody coming out saying, yeah, Joe didn't write this letter. And Joe stumbling and saying, well, I didn't write that letter. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do that. It was Yoda. Thank you, my friend. It means that there's finger pointing going on behind the scenes in that party because this plan to roll out Kamala has not worked out well at all. In fact, I think Kamala's done more damage in the time period, in the 2 weeks that she's been given the nomination, than any political candidate has done in a year-long campaign. You know what I'm saying? And it's not going well for them. So then we see Kamala getting on a plane today with a black diaper on her face, which lets you know what's coming down the pipeline. Can we hit the like button, man? It's like, it's crazy. 132 people could get in here and they get 40 likes. And it's just like, yeah, that's like 20%, 30%, 40% of the people say they like it. 38.7%, somewhere in that range. But it's crazy because the likes always come when the video is off, which lets me know that there's haters here to see what I got to say. But nonetheless, prepare yourself for them to roll out their next thing to shut everything down. Point blank, period. Do I have to watch and rebuke it? No, you just rebuke it. Prepare them for them to roll out that next. I was thinking about that while I was sitting at my desk. You know, how you can prepare for worst case scenario. And it's a horrific thing if they do it again, because we're already in a messed up economy in the middle of a recession. If they do it again, they're going to tank everything. For example, commercial real estate already tanked. They're going to destroy the commercial real estate industry if they do it again. Because now you go back and telling people, oh, you don't come to work, go back home. And they've already primed people to work from home. People don't even like coming to the office to work. It was so much so that they had to compromise and tell people, okay, you can work from home on Fridays. So if they do it again, it's going to tank everything. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to have people who got leases, and they're going to be like, man, I'm not paying this lease. I'm not using that. And people breaking leases, moving out. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at what they're saying and what they're doing and what they're projecting, you see what's coming down the pipeline. And honestly, they kind of needed to be locked down to fill in them ballots and ship them in. Because there's poll watchers now this time around. A lot of poll watchers. So the only way you can get around the poll watchers is you got to shut everything down. You know what I'm saying? And so I see them trying to shut everything down again. And they got to roll it out in enough time for all the fear to kick in. So be looking for the first, when it hits the news, the first fear campaign, and they start pushing it, you know what's coming. I say they got to do it quick because we're in mid-August, September, October. You got to have it done and fully instituted by the beginning of October. I mean, you got to have all the talking points in place, all the fear in place by October, the beginning of October. Got to have it. Now, the question is, do I think people are going to respond to it? Nah, I don't really think people gonna respond to it the way they anticipate them doing it. But here's the problem we have. The problem we have is Joe's on the beach chilling, Kamala's on the campaign trail doing whatever she's doing. So those people that you see ain't the ones in control. And I don't think they really care about how Kamala's perceived, because you see the recent talking points where Kamala came out and said that she's gonna, remove taxes on tips and all of this, which is purely hypocritical, and it's blatantly hypocritical. So when you're just throwing out stuff and trying to stick stuff on a wall, and you keep throwing, that means you got a trick up your sleeve, and you don't care if it really works or not. You're just gonna keep throwing stuff up against the wall, because at the end of the day, you're gonna hit a red button and it's really gonna get bad, and you're gonna go to plan. In their case, probably plan X, Y, probably Y at this point in time. Let's call it plan D, plan destruction, to pull off what you need to pull off. It's the only thing that makes sense when you look at it. There's got to be a larger plan at play that they can pull. You know what I'm saying? And somebody saying the UN military and cops gonna go around. I'm gonna tell you this. That's gonna end bad. That's gonna end bad. I don't see him pulling it off in the South, because I don't see you going to Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Kentucky, North and South Carolina. I don't see you going anywhere in the Southeast. I don't see you going to Montana, maybe Colorado, areas of Colorado. I don't see you going anywhere knocking on somebody's door and making them do something without it being massive bloodshed. I mean, I don't see that. You know what I'm saying? I don't see it happening. That's going to end bad. But based on what we're seeing, these people are so desperate that they'll try anything. I mean, if you just look at what you're seeing, the desperation, I think they will try anything. You know what I'm saying? Can people hit the like button? 212 and 85 likes. I don't think y'all like these smoke breaks. If I go by the feedback of the likes that I get, it's telling me that nobody likes this. And this conversation could just be a video, and I could just record it and drop it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and I can tell you, if they do another shutdown, worldwide shutdown, it's gonna crash all those economies. Now, I'll be clear with you: certain nations ain't finna shut down. You know what I'm saying? Certain nations ain't gonna shut down. They're just not. But here we would. Well, certain cities would, and certain states would. And they're gonna lock down some states, cities, and states gonna lock down harder than others. I remember when Steve Pachinik was on back in the day, which he's gone quiet for a reason. Steve Pachinik was explaining that what we were witnessing was power shifting from the federal government down to the state government levels. And what he said ultimately became true, that power shifted from the federal level down to the state level as governors and state legislatures started amending rules and preventing certain things from happening. And you see it. And so what we're going to see moving forward is probably the best and worst states to live in as this thing rolls out. But to win an election, truthfully, they just need a couple of states that they can lock down and pull in those ballots. You know what I'm saying? especially the ones that are getting their butt whooped in. And I submit to you that you will see the UK and America, if they get away with doing it. You're going to see everything that's happening in the UK happen in America 17 times worse. And when that happens, brother, you're going to really understand. I put it like this. When that happens, all the people who think America is the worst place on the world, on the planet, are going to really see what they voted for. Now, I don't want to see that happen because I don't think we need to go through that because enough people are paying attention. But if enough people put up a front to where they can do it, it'll be a problem. Now, mind you, it's come out that Black Lives Matter was financed by George Soros. Antifa was financed by George Soros. Those dudes that came marching with the torches in Florida was financed by George Soros. The Palestinian protests on campuses was financed by George Soros. And so when you see those funded arms running around in the streets, doing whatever they want to do, know that it's on and popping. You know what I'm saying? Know that it's on and popping. And that's what it is. Utterly terrifying to think that what it could turn out to be. If people aren't wise. But if what's happening with the Olympics and what's happening in politics right now is any indication, we still got a lot of people who ain't paying attention. Got a lot of people who woke up, but still got a whole bunch of people that ain't paying attention. You know what I'm saying? Got a lot of people who ain't paying attention. And it's the green people, the damn lizard people. And I'm telling you, if them lizards are able to have their way, this time around, you're going to see stuff you ain't never seen before. You're already seeing people's children get sacrificed. Literal sacrifices of children. Teenage girls by MS-13. Bro, you don't want to see what come next. I'm telling you, you don't want to see what come next. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we're alone. I think people are paying attention. That's their objective, is to make you feel like you're alone. That's why you have to strengthen yourself by going and looking for what's actually being said. If you actually go look for what's being said, like, there's a reason why I keep highlighting what was said in black churches, what was said on the streets, what's said like by man on the street interviews, because that's the real people talking. But they highlight themselves and their minions spazzing out, saying crazy stuff, going buck bananas to make you feel like you're alone. You ain't alone. You know what I'm saying? Trust me, there's a lot more people awake than you think. It's just that isn't enough people awake. Not woke, awake. Two different things. Those are two completely different terms. Two completely different terms. You know what I'm saying? Homie, I don't smoke blunts. I smoke cigars. Watch them out. So, it's two different things. You know what I'm saying? And that really is what the battle is. The battle is between people who are woke, and that's a religion and an ideology, and people who are awake and paying attention. And that's a whole nother different ideology and thought process and what people are thinking. You know what I'm saying? The whole nother thought process. And that's what we're battling against. You did? Therein lies the problem. How are we gonna figure out how you gonna wake up woke people? And unfortunately, I don't think there's a way of waking them up. They got to pay a price for it. You know what I'm saying? They got to pay a price for it. The price that they pay is for them to actually see. The price that they pay is for them to actually see truth, and it's an expensive price to pay to see the truth. Thanks for the $5 donation. Does that say Wraith Strongo Park? I appreciate it. You dig? You're awesome. You're awesome. All right, there we go. That's the scary part about it. And when you start talking about the woke philosophy, people have been trained in that. It's like, and I said this on one of the videos, the board of one of the nonprofits that I sit on, when they first started rolling out the anti-bullying programs, the government dumped a whole bunch of funding into that. And so everybody that had a nonprofit got on board with that because the government did funding of it. This is about 10 years ago. The issue that I saw then is still what I see now. Physically laying hands on somebody, people shouldn't be doing in schools. They shouldn't be, you know what I'm saying? Even though that's a part of life. And I don't endorse that in any way, shape, or form. But what happened as an outcome of that was people couldn't be told certain things. So words were considered being bullying because you started to protect people's feelings. And so now you have an entire generation of people who grew up with their feelings protected based on words. So if I tell you something, and it's indicative of what happens here on YouTube. It was the beginning of the attack on free speech where feelings matter more than anything. And when you start talking about people's feelings and emotions, and their right to not have their feelings hurt, their right not to hear something that they don't like. Now, you got the right to hear it and change the channel. You know what I'm saying? But when that war started on free speech, it was a two-pronged approach, which was, and it was government funded, but it was a seed that was planted in a future generation to where they came up believing, man, you can't say something that I don't like, or anything you say that I disagree with, you should be shut down from saying it. And it killed discourse. So you got a whole generation of people who will not have discourse with you. They won't have a conversation with you. And they'll shut off the conversation. So therefore, as that conversation is shut off, it shuts off their ability to become wise and have any wisdom, because you know, as a young child or as a teenager or young adult, you think you know everything and everybody else older doesn't know anything. However, the natural progression is as you move out of your parents' household and into the real world, and reality slaps you in your face, you come to the understanding that, hold on, things that I was thinking about, it's not necessarily true. Now, ideas and concepts that I believe to be true aren't what's true. Well, they pushed that Overton window of, they pushed that inherent process of growth, intellectual growth and maturity so far to the left that when they reset, they come back towards the middle in any shape or form, they're still dead smack extreme in their beliefs. Because you could not tell them, hey, you're wrong. Go take a look at any man on campus conversation. For example, when they talk about gender, when they talk about religion, when they talk about race, when they talk about anything. So, for example, there was one conversation about abortion. The guy was saying, well, the girl said abortion lowers crime. And the guy says, you're racist. She's like, well, why you say that? He says, because black people are responsible for 47% of abortions. Did you know that? She said, no, I didn't know that. He said, so you're saying that aborting black people lowers crime. And she could not handle the conversation because she didn't understand what she was saying When you add facts into what she's saying, she doesn't understand what she's saying is racist. And the rebuttal wasn't, well, damn, I'm wrong. Let me go look at that. The rebuttal was, you're wrong. You're speaking your truth. And that's the problem. Because nobody can tell them truth. Because when you get truth, it's bullying. I mean, and that's what it boils down to. They turn truth into bullying. And so they'll say, well, that's your truth. No, truth is truth. That's statistics. I mean, it's like saying that if you let the air out of your car tires, that your car's not going to drive correctly. You have a flat. Well, that doesn't mean you don't have air in your tires. It doesn't mean you have a flat. It just means that, you need to put air in your tires. No, that means your tires are flat and that you can't drive that vehicle from point A to point B. Well, I can still drive it. Yeah, you can still drive it, but you're going to tear the car up in the process. The truth is, you need air in your tires. But no. We're going to argue about, can you drive the vehicle or not? Yeah, you can drive a vehicle with a flat tire, with 4 flats. See how far you get. See what happens as those rims tear into the rubber, and then the rubber falls off, and now you're riding on rims, and there's sparks all over the place. You can absolutely drive a vehicle with 4 flats. How far you going to get? I don't know. You ain't going to get as far as you would get if you had air in your tires, I can tell you that much. And that's where we are with the discourse. And that's what makes it so dangerous, because when you can't tell people truth and people can't accept truth, they can be fed lies, and those lies become their truth. And that's what you're seeing happen in political discourse all over the planet. And it's just a wall that that's put up psychologically that someone has to penetrate and break. And unfortunately, for those young people, reality would have to destroy their wall and destroy them in order for them to come into the truth. So a stock market crash is not significant to them as long as it doesn't affect them. A recession is not significant to them until it affects them. But a depression will affect them. Like the 1920s depression will affect them and shake all that off of them. But in the process, everybody else is destroyed so they can come to the knowledge and understanding. And that's why something has to change. That's why, when you see them talking about putting Bibles back in school and putting the 10 Commandments back in school, one of them is honor thy mother and thy father. When you hear people say, well, man, I don't want to see the 10 Commandments back in school, what you hear them saying is, no, I don't want God back in school, and I don't want the principles of success shown to children. Just think about it. If the one principle, honor thy mother and thy father, was held firm and strong for 4 generations, that means that the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of your parents will be carried on for 4 generations. So that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of your parents would defeat all of this foolishness. You know what I'm saying? It would defeat it. But because that's been yanked away, and those years of knowledge, like your great-grandfather's knowledge, your grandfather's knowledge, your father's knowledge, all their life experiences that they can instill in you to make generations better, it's been replaced with ideology in school. So now you see lack of wisdom and lack of understanding because that household it's been severed. You know what I'm saying? If you go back, I don't know, 3 generations. Now let's just go back. My grandfathers and my grandmother grew food in their backyard. Boy, get out there and get that corn. You had to go get the corn. You had to shuck the corn. Boy, go out there and get them greens. Go get the greens. Clean the greens. Just that base level of understanding of how to feed yourself is no longer here. It's why they can sit there and say, oh, we're going to put stuff in the food supply and do this to you and do that to you. Because that knowledge base has been cut off. That's just one. of the Ten Commandments that they don't want in classrooms. And it's bigger than just that. It's having generations that don't know God and don't understand any of his principles. And if you know anything about spiritual warfare and Satan's kingdom and God's kingdom, it's really about generations. Generations falling in line with philosophies and generations coming into worship, because that's the future. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. And therein lies the problem. So bring it all the way back to the beginning of what I was saying before I go get me something to eat. That was a move and a ploy to destroy people's families. And it's a move and a ploy to destroy generations. So if you're a grandparent or a parent and you know that your kid or your grandkid has that virus infecting them, you're going to need to sit down and talk with them. Because to win that battle, it has to happen at home. Somebody has to combat what's being taught in schools, and it has to happen at home. I mean, straight up. I mean, it's got to happen at home. And if you're, for example, let's say you have a son or a daughter that's in their 20s and they're not leaning towards the woke stuff, then you're going to need to make sure that they understand that, no, you're going to need to protect our bloodline from this. So when your kids come and they go to school and they try and feed your kids this foolishness, you need to explain to your kids, no, we're not going with that. And you need to explain to them how to survive in that environment where everybody's lost their mind, or not even put them in that environment. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to do, but you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to do it if you want your family, bloodline, and lineage to survive what's laid out in front of you. And if you don't see everything being an assault on bloodlines, whether it be through food, whether it be through the media, whether it be through what you saw at the Olympics, whether you be, dudes beating up on girls, whether it be guys competing with girls in sporting events. I mean, bro, I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, it's time to do noon prayer. I will catch up with you guys later. Somebody says homeschooling. Homeschooling is a great option, but the problem with when you homeschool kids is they don't know how to be social. You know what I'm saying? So the kids get out and they're kind of weird. I mean, truthfully, because they don't know how to be social. It's better to teach them, it's better to put them in an environment where they don't have to be bothered with it, but it's still social, than to raise them homeschooled and they're weird and they don't know how to interact with people. Now, if you can homeschool them with a bunch of people to where it's homeschooled, but there's a group, then awesome sauce. That's going to be awesome. But they still need that social environment in order to allow them to be social. So let's say it's 20 people and 20 families in a neighborhood and they decide to homeschool kids, but they still got the friend, Greg and Susie and Byron, and they still have people coming to birthday parties, and that's perfect. You know what I'm saying? That's awesome sauce. But that individual isolation of homeschool is going to be, it's not going to be good for them. Because when they get into the environment where the peer pressure kicks in, and understand, all this is being done via peer pressure. When they get into the environment where the peer pressure kicks in and they have to be forced to think like everybody else, you're going to see them conform to that peer pressure because they've never really been around their peers. You see what I'm saying? And so that's one of the advantages of them being social is, and you kind of monitoring it, is you coming in, talking to them, checking on them. Hey, what happened at school today? Oh, well, they were talking about this. Nah, son, that's not how this works. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And you walk them through it. You know what I'm saying? But it's a battle for bloodlines, guys. You know what I'm saying? And that'll be that. All right, peace out.